Marie-Christine Levet worked for Pepsi and came to INSEAD in 1994 looking to switch into the media sector. She was then chosen to set up the French office of Lycos, one of the pioneering internet search engines, and went on to become CEO of one of France's largest internet service providers. Welcome to Alumni Experience, Marie-Christine. So you were looking, I think, when you came to INSEAD to move into the media, but you actually went back to Pepsi. How did you eventually make the change?
Basically, I quit what I was doing. So that was a risk, because after 18 months after INSEAD, you're normally, very much into your career, all your friends from your promotion, they're having successful jobs in banking, they earn a lot of money, etc. And then you say, okay, I quit what I'm doing because I'm too bored, and this is not why I did INSEAD, So basically I quit and I explore. I think I remember I went to Italy to learn art at the British Institute for 1 month. So, I completely quit what I was doing. And then I say, I'm not going to work in this old media industry. And I'm going to work in this new thing that nobody knew what it would be, which was the internet.
How did you actually get that job at Lycos?
I saw this company, what was Lycos at that point, in 1996. There were not so many actors on the web, and Lycos was wanted to enter Europe, and they just announced a joint venture with Bertelsmann. And Bertelsmann was a company I knew and I had met at INSEAD. Basically, I think one of the lessons I learned is that it's much easier, when you start something in a new world or something that is very early. You didn't have to be too early, but if you're early in a new world, it's not like, when headhunter tell you, you work for Pepsi, we're going to send you Coke, or, they want people that have done exactly the same things before. This was just, like it was more the energy and the will and basically I think I was the only one who contacted them. So, they say, okay, and INSEAD was just like, my passport.
So you were CEO of Lycos for several years, and then, Google arrived and kind of spoiled the party. What was it like to have this sort of hyper competitor arrive on the scene?
Lycos was really doing well. It was an American company, very, very aggressive, etc. At one point, they sell themselves to Terra, the Spanish, and so basically the good guy left. They earned a lot of money and they left. And it was a Spanish-German joint venture that never worked, and they never developed the product. And so this gives me, a strong belief that, in tech industry, the product technology is key. And they let Google enter, because it's exactly the same, the same search engine, the same, type of product. But Google was having a lot of developers, just focusing on that. And at one point, they didn't develop enough the product, so the search was not as rapid, as fast as Google, was not as accurate. So this gives me the strong belief. And afterwards, I've seen that in all the successes I've seen, the attention to the product, to the execution of a good product is key.
You went on to head up T-Online, the internet service provider, and I think you were managing 500 people at the age of 35. How difficult was that?
The toughest was not really to manage, but the toughest was how do you manage company growing very fast and, being from a startup to something bigger? Because startups are easy to manage. People are motivated, they're young, they really believe in the product, etc. But how do you keep this spirit when the company grows? When the company grows from we grew the company from, 70 million euro turnover to like 400 million. But so a company with 400 million euro turnover, doesn't need process, can't have the same, spirit than the startup. So how do you still keep this, entrepreneurial spirit, but put process and have a company, with a bigger size? And I think one of the thing I tried and that was quite interesting was to manage by project, always having people in small, like INSEAD type of group project, always having people from different departments, not always the boss, but having for example, I was always following myself a project that was really key to the company, and I took one person from every team. That means you didn't have to have the director of the team. It could be somebody working for him, but you have a multidisciplinary team. And that, in fact, when I think about it, it was a bit like the INSEAD group project,
You now sit on a number of French company boards, which is, I guess, a portfolio career. How did you move into that?
Basically, I started with the first board. That somebody, really knew me well because they were really one of my competitor and they wanted to buy my company. So they did a thorough due diligence. They know me well and they they didn't buy the company, but they said, do you want to be in our board? Once I sold it and I didn't have any conflicts of interest. So I had this first one and then I had the second one and the third one and then now I have more than 6 positions. But it's often people for me, it's really people that in my expertise. And it's people that I've been knowing, that have seen me, working for years. Most of the people that ask me to come on their boards, I've been knowing them for like the last 10 years. So it's, it's relations that you build, on a long time scale.
Thinking about relationships, how do you nurture your relationships? How do you keep your network warm?
I think one of the things for me, I spend a lot of time introducing people, with, doing that for free, a lot of introduction. And sometimes some people earn a lot of money because of my introduction. Some tells you thank you, some never. I feel what is important is when people introduce you or people, to a new business, to a new person, I think sometimes it's very important to keep in touch a person. And often, you don't keep in touch with the person because you're in a row, you have to do other things and you forget. And this is the only thing when people say, I didn't know that. I think, and it's part of keeping the relation. It's just sending a little mail, you don't need to call the person, just sending a little mail, thank you, I've been doing that thanks to your introduction. So I think often I don't do it and some people, can be offended, if you don't keep them informed.